Sister Wives, Season 14, Episode 11, Being Gay and Religious. This has been a long day. I've recorded, this is my third YouTube video. It's my first pumpkin blend craft cider. And recently we've been getting more and more viewers. We've had quite a few people say, why are you recapping this show if you hate it? And I thought, you don't even get us. That's the other thing they say is, why is that dude there if he hates the show so much?
Oh, today was no exception. It was extra long. It was
well,
like, what, 4.5 hour show?
No, what's funny is 90 Day Fiancé is slowly encroaching.
Felt that way.
Slowly encroaching on Sister Wives. So at this rate, within a few weeks, Sister Wives will be 30 minutes and 90 Day Fiancé will be 2.5. No, but I think this wasn't the best episode in the sense that I think a lot of people who are watching the show want to see what's going to happen with Kody and Robyn, and we kind of get a timeout to deal with Mariah and Audrey. So the moms go to Chicago. Mary has a 1-year lease on her new place. Robyn is like, I would not take that because if I had a 2-year lease, I wouldn't be in this problem. And I thought, oh, I should probably take whatever house you get. I'm going to flat out say that I know nothing about the Flagstaff market. So I have no idea if, I don't know any of this. Are there no houses? Some people said, there's probably houses if she was looking for like a 4-bedroom house. There's probably just not 6-bedroom houses. That's probably fair. 6 bedrooms is a lot of bedrooms. That's a lot. That's unusual. Like, we like to look at houses recreationally, and we do. Did you see this ranch? But there's a lot of places that, like, even as you go up in square footage, they don't just keep adding bedrooms. They have like 4 bedrooms and then they stop, and then the bedrooms just slowly expand and get bigger as you get into bigger houses. So, I don't know anything about it. Maybe Kody is right and there is nothing to buy. Maybe Robyn's right and they should rent. I don't know anything about that, so I can't really take a side in that. All I can say is the way that they, as a couple, are handling it seems really unhealthy. What is that about?
Because at least it's fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, so people are
Not this week.
I might just stop looking at the comments because people are getting awful salty with us, and someone had posted some pretty awful profanities to another one of the comments, and I was like, delete. Like, I guess you can attack me, that's fair enough, but don't attack my nice commenters that are just discussing it. Anyway, so Mariah and Audrey have been dating for 2.5 years. We get in a little bit. She talks a little bit about her religious upbringing and how that affected her. And there's really nothing to comment about that. She stated her feelings. There's no, it's most of the stuff that we talk about is like where you take a side. Can't really take a side in that. So, except this, which is, Mary says, Mariah, I'd like to throw you an engagement party, and I know your sisters are. And Mariah really pushes back. It's so silly to have 2 parties. This family has a party at the drop of a hat, so I don't know why that's the big deal. But then Mary's like, we could do it at the bed and breakfast. And they're like, oh, because they both are from Utah. They're like, oh, all of our friends could drive down and have a place to crash for the night. And what it looked like to me is that...
don't be a dick when somebody wants to celebrate you.
Yeah, so what it looked like to me is that Mariah doesn't want her mom to throw her a party. This isn't about the 2 parties being too many. It's that she doesn't want her, because she didn't suggest, well, why don't you throw me a party and my sister's not. She said, basically, Mom, don't throw me a party. Now, I'm a little torn on this because I've had to cut toxic people out of my life. Maybe that's her relationship with her mom. We all know that Mariah was at home when this whole catfishing, I hate to even bring up the word catfish, but when the whole thing happened. And,
triggered.
And the thing about it is, I understand how incredibly difficult that must have been. She's like, Mom, this person is not who they say you are. They say they are, blah, blah, blah. But then so that's a very valid point. So if she doesn't want to have, of course, my thought was, well, then don't invite her to come to Chicago and film with you. You don't want a relationship with your mom, don't have a relationship with your mom. I mean, that was my thought. But then does that mean you should cut off the rest of the family? And so there's that side of the coin, which is like, maybe her mom's crazy toxic. We know that there's problems. It seemed to me like Mary has made a lot of attempts on camera, for whatever that's worth, to try to work things out with Mariah. And it seems like Mariah has, at every stop said no. Now maybe it's because it's on camera. Maybe there's some frustration about that. I don't know. But I cannot help feeling bad for Mary. I don't know if it's justified or not. I just know that we know how Kody talks about her on national TV in front of his other wives. We saw that. We know that she doesn't have any other children. She couldn't have any more children, which breaks my heart because stuff we've gone through. So, I'm legit getting a little teary-eyed. So we know that Mary has no one. She doesn't have a husband. She has a strained relationship with her sister wives. She has no other children. And Mariah...
She's got a house in Utah.
She does have that. She has a relationship with mom. But all she wants to do is be involved in her daughter's life. And her daughter on public TV keeps pushing her away. So, I can't help feel sorry for her. Did she make her bed and now she's having to lie in it? I don't know. I feel like every week we make these decisive, this is how it is. And I just am really torn on this because I don't know any of this. I don't know. I cannot help feel bad for her that she has no one in her life. And that we all see it on national TV. Oh my gosh. This is so ridiculous.
You don't know and I don't care.
Can't believe I'm getting so emotional. So anyway, whew. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Pull yourself together.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with me. So they go to the beach. They talk about how they want to have kids. They don't know how they're going to be married. I don't think they're like, we don't know how to plan a marriage. I don't know that anybody does a wedding. I don't know that anybody does. If it makes you feel any better, Mariah,
Our
no
wedding
one does.
planner didn't know how to do it, so.
Yes, she did. Oh, that at the church. Okay, the lady at the church was such a hot mess. But your friend,
parents or
I thought
your
you meant.
grandparents?
I know. I thought you meant your friend's wife.
No,
helped me.
she did great.
She did great. Well, but she didn't do that much.
Our wedding planner didn't.
Yeah, anyway, but no one knows. Just so you know, nobody knows what they're doing. I actually had the exact where they said they got a wedding planning book and they opened it up and closed it. I had the exact same response. Remember, we went to Barnes and Noble down by my house, and I was in the wedding aisle crying because I was like, oh my gosh, they're like this big. They're like, there's like a page for like your calligrapher. There's a page for your, and I'm like, this is too much. So I ended up buying this really small book that was like how to plan a wedding in 6 weeks. And I was like, I was laughing though because she said, we've been engaged for 4.5 months and we haven't started. We were engaged for 4.5 months and got married. Yeah. We were like, we didn't get engaged.
4.5 months too long.
Yeah, seriously, if I did it again, we had a very lovely wedding and we were happy. But if I had to go through that again, absolutely would have taken. My mom had offered, if you want to elope, we'll give you this amount. You can go elope. We should have
take the money and run
in the car that day and eloped and been like, whoever wants to show up in Vegas in 4 hours is welcome. So anyway, but we had a beautiful wedding. But my point is and no one knows what they're doing with the wedding unless you're a wedding planner.
And even then,
and most of the
wedding, one out of two.
And most of the wedding planners that I actually had met were people who did their own wedding, decided that they enjoyed the process, and then did it for other people, and so on. And then it kind of grew. So, anyway, my note was she doesn't want her mom to throw a party. So anyway, they go out. Seeing the wives together
is boring. Well,
but it was also informative. I don't know if you paid. You were over there munching down your pizza, so I don't know if you noticed. But they were talking about how, sometimes Kody just causes more problems. And I'm like, oh. So I guess while they were throwing, I missed it, and I asked you to rewind it, and you said no.
It sounds likely.
Someone said something to Robyn and set her off crying after the axe throwing.
I did say no.
I will say, it's totally understandable. Whoever said it, I don't know. I couldn't tell if it was Christine or Mary.
It was on the other side of I think it was Christine. She was sitting on the other side of Mary.
Mary was on the other side of Christine.
Yeah, then it was her.
Mary?
No.
Christine?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, said something to Robyn, and Robyn breaks out in tears. And she said that while they were throwing axes, Aurora called and had a panic attack. Early on in the episode, Robyn said, Kody's going to take the kids to look at houses, and I hope the kids don't like any because it'll make it more difficult. And I thought, that is a terrible way. I don't know if Robyn's right or Kody's right, but putting the kids in the middle and using them as a leverage on the other one is a terrible way to go. Especially when we already know Aurora's having panic attacks. Which breaks my heart for her. I have terrible anxiety. We went to the store today to buy some fresh fruit. No fresh fruit. Got the last 2 avocados. There was nothing. The salad aisle was destroyed. There was no bread, toilet paper, diapers. There was no salt.
There's no condoms. Because our grocery store doesn't carry them anyway.
Okay. I was like, what were you looking for? I'm over there looking for apple juice. There was no salt. The salt aisle. There was like Himalayan pink sea salt, but there was all the salt was gone. I was like, I didn't even know I was supposed to stock up on salt. I'm going to get the sodium deficiency. Pasta was gone. We couldn't even got one loaf of raisin cinnamon bread and 2 avocados. We got other stuff too, but you got beer.
I did.
Anyway, and I had to, when we got to the line, I said, John, can I have the keys? There were people everywhere. There were people moving everywhere. The lines were backed up into the aisles, and I was like, I can't. We have a very small grocery store, so it's not as crazy as it sounds like, but I had problems with it. So I totally feel for someone who's having panic attacks. But she had a panic attack. She called Robyn. Robyn had to talk her through it. And she's just freaking out, and that kind of breaks my heart. And then she's really mad at Kody. All the wives say she has to be really mad at Kody to talk about this. I'm guessing this is the first time that they've heard her say anything about Kody in the last 14 seasons. So they seem really genuinely mad. Someone pointed out in the comments, and so I want to mention, well, actually, many of you pointed this out in the comments, which is that when they interviewed the kids said, I would love one big house. Whereas Christine had said, maybe Robyn said, I can't remember, but definitely Christine said my kids don't want to live together. And at least one, possibly 2 of them said otherwise. I'm not totally sure. And so there was kind of a question of like, did she lie about it? Did she not tell them? Did she make assumptions? Is maybe it's other kids? I don't know. It's a good catch. I do remember that happening. We just didn't mention it. This preview for next week sent my blood pressure soaring because Kody's like super mad at Robyn and saying, we should have just stayed in Vegas. Yeah, you mean like the way your 4 wives wanted to stay in Vegas? I know on the internet they're constantly talking about how Robyn was the mastermind. I respect that if that's your opinion. I don't think that's mine. If I was going to have to lay down a bet, I would say that that is not what happened, but I totally get why other people feel that way. But so let's just take Robyn out of the equation. The other 3 wives did not want to go. Were vocal about not wanting to go. Janelle said she would not go. That didn't last very long. So I just feel like the only thing that's acceptable is for Kody to step up and say, maybe I was wrong. That would be acceptable. But to have him paint it like somehow he was forced to leave Vegas.
I get not wanting to raise your kids in a certain place. I mean, that was part of the reason we
we moved, but
left where we left. But
like, we waited till we were both on board.
Right.
Because I wasn't on board for a long time.
I didn't want a divorce.
Well, yeah. Forcing someone
healthy marriage.
Forcing someone to do something before they're ready like that, in the way that they did, has clearly bred some resentment.
But it's like even there, I mean.
And the promise was
with
we'll
as
replicate
much money as they were spending, it seems like if they were concerned about the kids, and that's what it was, they could have bought a private school. Like.
Oh, you mean like it would have been cheaper to stay and go to a public school? And
private.
Go to a private school or homeschool, or I don't know. Anyway, no, it's a good point. It doesn't look like any of them. Someone was like, "Yeah, Kody has a job," and I'm like, maybe. He's always talking about his business partners, but it's all very vague, and I think this is his business, and I don't know. So anyway, but the next episode looks.
Well, I'm sure he's a manager of My Sister Wife's Closet.
Yeah, they haven't talked about that all season, have they?
Thank you.
I know, but I am kind of like, it is just weird if they have a business and then they never. What was it? The family. What was the family thing that they all had to sign? It took them all season to write out. Remember, and all the kids signed it. But anyway, I will say that if they're looking for a 15th season, a real crash and burn is probably...
Get a divorce, add a wife.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe both.
Anyway, so hit us up in the comments, as always, and if and please pray that a scammer doesn't steal this video as well. Thank you.